Queen Charlotte had 18 pet kangaroos and 15 children. You might not know these facts about Queen Charlotte. 1. She may have been Britain's first black queen. Queen Charlotte descended from the Portuguese royal family. Her distant relative was Alfonso III of Portugal. He had a North African lover, Madrigana. They went on to have 3 children together. 2. Her marriage wasn't a love match. King George III needed to secure a queen. He didn't want her to get involved in his royal affairs. George considered several minor princesses from Germany. Charlotte was given a low level of education. She had no experience with the royal duties. She showed little interest in helping her husband rule. 3. She married her husband at first sight. Charlotte arrived in London at just 17 years old. She'd never met the king before that. After the sea journey, Charlotte was ill. Her wedding dress no longer fit her. She married George III 6 hours after they met. 4. She had a snuff addiction. Charlotte used tobacco to cure her frequent headaches. The habit started before she arrived in England. King George wanted to appease his new bride. He tried snuff on the second day of their marriage, but he couldn't stop sneezing. Charlotte had a room for tobacco at Windsor Castle. It accumulated 90 snuff boxes. By the time of her death, she had a collection of over 350 different bottles of snuff. Violet Strasberg was among her favorite blends. It included bitter almonds, ambergris, and green tea. 5. She had over a dozen children. Charlotte and George III had 15 children together. 13 of them lived to adulthood. 6. She had a penchant for Pomeranians. Charlotte brought 2 of them to England. They were named Phoebe and Mercury. This pair was later captured in her royal portrait. Charlotte frequently gifted dogs to her courtiers. Her own Pomeranians lived with her in her staterooms. 7. She was self-educated. When Charlotte arrived in London, she didn't speak English, but it didn't take long for her to pick up the language. She was passionate about women's education. All of her daughters had the best education available. Charlotte became deeply interested in naturalism. She would regularly visit Kew Gardens to catalog plants. 8. She collected wild animals. Charlotte founded the first kangaroo menagerie in Britain. She even gifted kangaroos to her friends and loved ones. Charlotte also had a zebra. It often grazed outside of Buckingham Palace. Her elephant resided with the horses in the stables. 9. She loved music. Johann Christian Bach was Charlotte's music teacher. She invited Mozart to play for her at the royal palace. Charlotte often performed musical duets with her husband. They played on the flute and harpsichord. 10. She was friends with Marie Antoinette. They never crossed paths in person, but were pen pals. They discussed their mutual love of art and music. Then the French Revolution first broke out. Marie shared her concerns for her and her husband's future. Queen Charlotte prepared lodgings for them to flee. She was distraught to learn later that they were executed. 11. She was the longest reigning consort. Her record was beaten by Prince Philip, but she's the longest female reigning consort in Britain. She served a total of 57 years and 70 days.